She was the last of her kind and was about to be destroyed, but a beginning. The nebula burned with hues of violet and emerald as the Artemis, a human research vessel, coasted slowly through the void. It was here, on the very edge of known space, that Commander Elias Rourke and his crew had been ordered to investigate reports of an anomaly. Scanners had picked up strange energy readings unlike anything charted before. For weeks, they had chased ghosts, flashes of radiation, faint trails of ionized gas, the whisper of something ancient. Most of the crew were exhausted, ready to call it a failed mission, but Rourke felt it in his bones. There was something waiting for them out here. Something the galaxy had forgotten. "Commander," came the voice of Dr. Morella Kane, chief xenobiologist, her eyes glued to the console. "You'd better see this." On the holographic display bloomed the shape of a vessel, massive, crumbling, scarred from millennia of drifting. It dwarfed the Artemis, its hull coated in crystallized debris and cosmic dust. "That's no derelict freighter," Rourke muttered. "That's a generation ship." The closer they got, the clearer the truth became. The vessel wasn't human. Its architecture was all sweeping arcs of black stone-like metal, etched with glowing glyphs. Some kind of energy pulsed faintly beneath the surface. Dr. Kane's voice trembled with awe. "It's Zelthari. I've only seen fragments in ancient archives. Their empire vanished before humanity had even left its cradle. No one has ever found a ship this intact." They launched boarding probes. What they found inside was breathtaking: vast cathedral-like chambers, walls inscribed with alien histories, corridors lined with stasis pods, most shattered and dark. But one was still glowing. Inside lay a woman. Or something resembling one. Her features were delicate, inhumanly symmetrical, skin a pearlescent silver that caught the dim light like liquid moonstone. Her eyes were closed, her body curled within the pod like a preserved flame. "She's alive," Dr. Kane whispered. "The last Zelthari." Middle. Bringing her aboard was controversial. The crew argued endlessly. Some feared contamination, others feared what reviving her might awaken. But Elias Rourke believed the choice had already been made for them. "She's been waiting for someone," he said. "And fate dropped her into our hands. We owe her a chance." The pod systems were failing. If they left her there, she would be gone forever. So Kane and the medics stabilized her and carefully coaxed her into waking. The moment her eyes opened, the ship itself seemed to hum. They were a brilliant opal, shifting colors with every breath. She rose unsteadily, taller than most humans, her movements fluid like water. For a long while she only observed them, tilting her head, listening, as though the silence itself carried meaning. Then, in a voice that rang with both music and grief, she spoke. "Where are my people?" No one answered at first. Rourke finally stepped forward. "I'm sorry. You are the only one we found. The last of the Zelthari." Her eyes darkened, a storm of emotion flashing across her face. For hours she refused to speak again. Kane learned her name was Serenia, a word meaning keeper of memory. She had been chosen as guardian of her people's knowledge during their final exodus, when a cosmic plague had ravaged their empire. The stasis vessel was meant to carry survivors across eons. But something had gone wrong. The ship had never reached its destination. All her kin were gone. She was alone. The crew tried to comfort her, but she remained distant. Until the attack came. It began as a flicker on long-range sensors, an angular fleet, sharp and predatory, closing fast. Rourke recognized them instantly, the KHYRR Dominion, scavengers who claimed dominion over forgotten ruins. They thrived on plundering ancient tech, enslaving whatever they found. They had followed the Artemis signal. And they wanted the Zelthari survivor. When Serenia saw the Dominion ships, something primal lit within her. "They hunted us once," she whispered. "They will not have me." The Artemis was outgunned 10-1. The Dominion hailed them, demanding surrender of the relic. Rourke refused. A battle ignited in the void. The Artemis shook under enemy fire, its shields crumbling. Kane rushed to Serenia, urging her to hide, but the alien woman moved instead to the center of the ship. She pressed her hand against the bulkhead. The vessel groaned. Systems flickered. The holographic displays went wild. "She's interfacing with the ship," the engineer gasped. Serenia's body began to glow faintly, her opal eyes blazing. The Artemis responded like a living thing, hull plates reconfiguring, shields resonating with an unknown frequency. The next volley from the Dominion struck, and dispersed harmlessly in a shower of fractured light. "She's harmonized with our systems," Kane breathed. She's amplifying us. With Serenia's help, the Artemis moved like never before, darting between enemy fire, turning its meager weapons into piercing beams of devastating precision. One by one, Dominion ships were torn apart. But the effort drained her. After the last enemy ship fled, Serenia collapsed, her body dimming as though her very life force had been burned to protect them. Rourke carried her to the medbay, refusing to let her slip away. The truth unveiled. During her recovery, Serenia revealed what her people had truly been, not merely an empire, but stewards of living energy. The Zelthari were bound to the fabric of creation itself, capable of resonating with machines, stars, even the lifeblood of planets. That gift had made them powerful, and feared. The Dominion had once allied with others to exterminate them, terrified of their abilities. Serenia's survival was not chance. Her people had deliberately chosen one to endure, to carry their legacy into the future. But that future had arrived in chains. The Dominion was already regrouping, this time with reinforcements. They would not stop until they had her. Then we run, one officer argued. No, Serenia said firmly. If I keep running, their shadow will always follow. My people died because they fled. I will not. Her words stirred something in the crew. Against all reason, they agreed to fight. But they would not fight alone. The Artemis traveled to an uncharted system, where Serenia showed them what remained of her people's memory, a vast crystalline archive hidden in a hollow moon. When she touched it, the archive awakened, releasing swarms of constructs, semi-living machines her people had left dormant. They were guardians waiting for her command. She turned to Rourke. I am the last of my kind, but perhaps not forever. If we stand here, if we fight, then my people's song will not fade. The final battle. When the Dominion fleet arrived, they were met not by one wounded human vessel, but by a flotilla of awakened guardians, each shimmering with Zelthari light. Serenia stood at the center, her energy flowing outward, connecting ship to ship like threads of a luminous web. The battle was unlike anything Rourke had ever seen. The Guardians moved with eerie synchronicity, their weapons bending physics itself. The Artemis struck alongside them, every blast guided by Serenia's resonance. The Dominion fought ferociously, but they were unprepared for the rebirth of an ancient empire. One by one their ships were annihilated, until the last dreadnought shattered in a blaze of fire and silence. When it was over, Serenia nearly collapsed again. But this time she did not fade. The constructs hummed around her, sustaining her, as though her people's essence refused to let her die now that their vengeance was complete. She turned to Rourke, her luminous eyes filled with something new, not grief but gratitude. You did not abandon me, she said softly. You risked everything for a relic of a forgotten age. Because of you, I am no longer the last. Rourke shook his head. Because of you, humanity just gained a friend it never deserved. Ending. In the months that followed, Serenia remained aboard the Artemis, working with Kane and the crew to awaken more of her people's guardians and archives scattered across the stars. Though she was still the last flesh and blood Zelthari, she was no longer alone. Her people lived on, in memory, in constructs, and in the bond she had formed with humankind. Word of their alliance spread. Some feared it, others celebrated. But Serenia no longer cared for the fear of empires. She had faced extinction and emerged reborn. One quiet night, standing on the observation deck with Rourke, she gazed out at the endless stars. I thought my story had ended, she said. But perhaps it was only beginning. Rourke smiled faintly. Stories never end, Serenia. They just change who tells them. And as the Artemis sailed forward into uncharted space, with a human commander and the last of the Zelthari side by side, the galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the next chapter of a legend reborn.